Coming up on News Watch, several local schools go on lockdown today. We'll have more information about why tonight.
Also, we're learning more about an investigation into the death of a woman police say was concealed by her neighbor for 3 years. Ben?
Another rainy and gloomy day today across East Central Illinois, even foggy for most of the day today. You can even see that on our tower cam shot looking north off towards Charleston. We have more rain in the forecast for tomorrow morning and throughout the rest of this work week. This is News Watch, and your Wednesday evening edition starts now.
Charleston House proudly supports Newswatch. Now welcoming guests on Charleston's historic 6th Street. The Charleston House Bed and Breakfast Inn offers refined accommodations in a beautifully restored bed and breakfast. For booking information, visit craigcollection.com or call the number on screen.
TCI Realty, Charleston area's real estate connection, commercial, land and farm, and residential real estate. Experienced realtors with an up-to-date website at tcirealty.net. TCI Realty supports the students of WEIU Newswatch.
Rain yesterday, rain today, rain tomorrow. That's our top story tonight. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Bennett.
And I'm Matt Williamson. Well, Ben Whitney is in the Weather Center with an update on some much needed precipitation. Ben?
You're exactly right, Matt and Olivia. You hit the nail right on the head there. Rain, rain, and even more rain. We need it to help with our drought, but it has been a very wet past 24 hours. Looking at these totals right now, many of us over an inch in total precipitation, 1 inch and 3/10 here in Charleston, but the top of the board right now in Paris, 2.5 inches on the nose off to the east. Looking out, we've seen this frontal system that's fueling this rain that we are seeing. We're seeing this frontal system pull this moisture from the Gulf of Mexico up across the southern plains and in towards the Midwest. Looking a little bit closer to our home right now, we did have a fairly sized system just moved through. We're not expecting any sort of severe weather over the next 24 hours, but there is a little bit more rain in the forecast. Well, the full recap on that in your full Skywatch forecast coming up later this evening.
All right, thanks for that, Ben. Police are investigating a shooting that put a local college's satellite campus on lockdown today. Parkland College says its Parkland on Mattis location activated protocols while police responded to reports of shots fired on the corner of Mattis Avenue and Parkland Way. Champaign police say a 15-year-old was walking in the area when they were shot. They say the victim was taken to the hospital and is in stable condition. Police say shortly afterwards they responded to reports of gunfire at Winston Drive and Summit Ridge Road. Police say they are still looking for the suspects. Parkland says afternoon classes were canceled at their satellite campus on Mattis Avenue, but their main campus remained open. Evening classes have resumed. If you have any information, contact Champaign Police at the number on your screen. In a separate incident, Mattoon schools activate safety protocols as police make an arrest nearby. According to a notification obtained by Newswatch that had been sent to guardians of students at Mattoon schools, facilities went into soft lockdown this morning. Mattoon police say that's because officers were searching for a man with an outstanding warrant in Minnesota they believed to be in the area. Police say they found him traveling in a vehicle and arrested him around noon. Officials say the lockdown was activated out of precaution and there was no direct threat to the school. The lockdown was lifted shortly after the man's arrest. Governor Pritzker is calling on top government officials to make evacuation plans for Americans amidst growing tensions with Iran. Pritzker's office says the governor wrote to U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, raising concern after President Trump said yesterday there is no plan to evacuate Americans who may be in jeopardized areas. Pritzker called on the federal government to offer charter flights or military aircraft, explore emergency contracts with commercial transportation companies, give Americans guidance on how to flee, provide safe locations in areas where U.S. embassies have been attacked or destroyed, and authorize the emergency deployment of additional foreign service officers. The U.S. Department of State also announced a WhatsApp channel designated for guidance and alerts.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is clearing his name after being falsely tied to Jeffrey Epstein. Capitol News Illinois reports Pritzker was mentioned by Clinton during a closed-door deposition before the U.S. House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. During the meeting, Clinton said he thought he traveled with Pritzker on Epstein's plane, a claim the governor's office denied. And Clinton himself has since acknowledged that this is incorrect. Pritzker says he did travel with Clinton to Africa in 2008 for charity work. He says the plane for that trip was donated by Google. Public records indicate Epstein was already in custody for sex crimes at that time. Eastern Illinois University President Jay Gatrell comments on college affordability. Last month, Governor J.B. Pritzker presented to the General Assembly a proposed budget for the 2027 fiscal year, which includes a 1% increase in operating funding for public universities. Newswatch spoke with President Gatrell, and he says he's grateful.
It's a difficult budget environment this year for the state, so I'm grateful for any increase that we see. Obviously, it's not going to overcome inflationary factors and other sort of challenges that are in the environment, but Governor Pritzker has been a strong supporter of higher education, and I'm grateful for his continued support of Eastern.
According to Capitol News Illinois, the Illinois Board of Higher Education requested a 4.6% budget increase for fiscal year 2027. Pritzker blamed the inability to meet that request on economic uncertainty created by the Trump administration. Some government officials say when adjusted to inflation, funding is technically cut. We're learning more about the investigation to the death of a woman police say was concealed by her neighbor for 3 years. According to a probable cause affidavit, Springfield police officers were sent to Lily Prindle's home on Salem Road to do a welfare check. Documents show police found Prindle dead under a pile of several blankets and a chair. Police say she seemed to be mummified. According to documents, evidence in the home suggested she had been intentionally hidden. Police say she had been receiving Social Security and state pension checks, and several bank withdrawals had been made from her account after her death. The affidavit says security camera video shows Prindle's neighbor, Gina English-Wheat, withdrawing money from Prindle's account on 3 separate occasions. It says English-Wheat told police she hid Prindle's death because she didn't want anyone to know that Prindle had passed away. Court records show she's charged with concealing a death, and she appeared before a judge yesterday.
The Coles County Sheriff's Office is reminding the public not to fall for a jury duty scam. The office says they've received reports of callers pretending to be employees, telling people they've missed federal jury duty and need to pay money to avoid being arrested. It says the scammers mimic the office's caller ID and sometimes use names of real deputies. Officials say not to answer this call. They say local law enforcement will never call, text, or mail you a warrant and demand payment. The Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children adds new food package offerings. The program, also known as WIC, says those new offerings took effect last Wednesday and offer a broader range of culturally responsive foods that provide nutrition. New food options include corn mesa flour, whole wheat English muffins, and sardines. Plus, there are now different package sizes and adjustments to certain food quantities to align with dietary needs. The Department of Human Services reports nearly 200,000 Illinois residents receive WIC benefits each and every month. To learn more about WIC, visit the website on your screen. With spring just around the corner, Illinois fishing licenses are officially up for sale. The Department of Natural Resources says that people can purchase their license for the 2026 season online or at a department-authorized vendor. A standard non-discounted resident fishing license costs $15, and the DNR says anglers must be at least 16 to carry a valid license. Chief Officiaries for the DNR, Mike McClellan, says when anglers buy a license, they help support sport fishing and improvements to the habitat across Illinois. 2025 season licenses remain valid until the end of the month. Well, this week is certainly not fishing weather, Olivia.
That's definitely right, Matt. Ben Whitney is in the Weather Center with more information on when we'll see the sun again.
It'll be quite some time before we get to see that sun, Olivia. It did help that we are starting to see that rain move off to the east. We'll have a little bit of a relatively drier period for the next 12 hours or so, but we have a few more spells of rain coming through, and we'll time those out coming up next.
Hello, this is Jared Hawkup, EIU class of 2009. I spent 4 great years at Eastern Illinois University, 3 of which I was part of a wonderful team at WEIU. I have now been working in scoreboard operations and fan entertainment for the St. Louis Cardinals at Busch Stadium for more than 16 years, and I owe that in large part to the experience I gained while at WEIU. WEIU needs us all now more than ever. Unfortunately, WEIU has lost their federal funding, and they need us all to consider a donation of support to keep them going strong. All the donor information is located at WEIU.net. Please consider your best gift of support. We are WEIU. Thank you.
Good evening. Tonight continues Severe Weather Preparedness Week here in Illinois. Tonight we're discussing the differences between severe thunderstorm or severe watches and warnings. Generally, a watch is when we're expecting those conditions to be favorable for severe weather to take place. They're usually posted around a 6 to 10 hour period, and they're meant for you to be watching for more information, whereas warnings are more immediate. They're actually a threat in the area. It's warning you to take action and to shelter in place. And stay informed on social media or your TV or your radio. We won't be seeing that severe weather really necessarily over the next 24 hours or so. We did have a fairly decent sized cell of rain move across. It was pouring in Charleston just not too long ago. We'll see a little bit drier of a spell over the next few hours or so, but generally speaking, a very wet past 24 hours, nearly 1.5 inches for the past 24 hours here in Charleston, a little bit over that in Champaign. 2.5 inches currently off to the northeast in Paris. That didn't keep temperatures down for the day though. Highs up into the mid 50s today, 56 in Charleston, even up as warm as 63 degrees to the southeast in Robinson, 60 degrees in Effingham. Now overnight tonight, we'll see these lows staying pretty well around where we are right now, 54 for our overnight low. That's due in part to those mostly cloudy skies, helping to kind of keep in the warmth that we've absorbed over the day today. And then those we'll see some potential patchy fog overnight and towards sunrise tomorrow, where we do see the chance for some showers returning before sunrise. You can see that on our daily breakdown for tomorrow. Even warmer during our day for Charleston tomorrow, 63 degrees for our high. We'll see the heaviest rain just around sunrise, around 8 a.m. and gradually starting to clear up as we get to the afternoon tomorrow. These winds coming in from the south are going to help to fuel that warm up we'll see. And this rain will be sticking around. We'll see a few more breaks in the precipitation as we move forward, but it'll still be a wet rest of the week for east central Illinois. Futurecast right here. As we move this forward for you, again, fairly dry for the next few hours or so, but right around sunrise or a little bit before sunrise tomorrow, you'll see that we have yet another wave of this rain coming through. Won't be adding a whole lot to what we've already seen, but we do have the chance to see a few more spotty showers throughout our midday and afternoon periods on Thursday. We'll see a little bit clearer of a sky as we look ahead towards Friday. Now, rain projections right now, this is what we're expecting by the end of our day tomorrow. Another inch in addition to what we've already seen in Charleston, a little bit higher to the south and the southeast. Much of the northern portions of our area won't be seeing this rain, but as we move this forward, the rest of the rain that we'll see throughout this work week and into the weekend will only add a little bit more than what we've seen. Tomorrow will be the last real addition to our rainfall totals for this system anyways. An inch and 1/10 of an inch in Charleston, a little bit higher in Robinson, a little over 2¼ inches. Looking forwards, chances for rain on Friday. That's when we're really expecting the greatest chance to see some thunderstorms or some potential severe weather. We'll continue to update you as we get closer to that. The high temperature, 74 degrees to end our work week. We'll see those showers returning as we get into Saturday, 64 degrees. This rain will primarily be in the morning hours on Saturday. It'll be a little bit drier of an evening and overnight into Sunday, where we'll finally get to see the sun a little bit, 57 degrees, as we end our weekend. Now, we are only 4 days away from the official spring forward and the changing of the clocks from 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. That's going to have some pretty steep effects for our sunrise and sunset times. Sunrise is going to be after 7 a.m. And the one thing that I'm excited about, sunsets are finally going to be close to 7 p.m. It sucks to lose that hour of sleep, but it is great to see those sunsets a little bit later. Looking at the rest of your 7-day forecast, we'll be warming back up towards the start of next work week, but another system of rain in store for middle portion of next week.
All right, thanks for that, Ben. Now, still to come tonight, the U.S. scrambles to find a way out of the Middle East for Americans as tensions with Iran continue to grow.
We'll have more on what government officials say the next course of action is. Thanks for watching. This is Newswatch on WEIU. Israel and the U.S. are stepping up attacks on Iran as the Senate holds a vote on whether to allow a future vote on limiting the president's war authority. That measure is expected to fail. Brian Abel reports.
We are accelerating, not decelerating.
U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth cautioning Americans the operation against Iran is still in its early days.
Iran's capabilities are evaporating by the hour, while American strength grows fiercer, smarter, and utterly dominant. More bombers and more fighters are arriving just today.
Hegseth says the next phase of the military action is for U.S. and Israeli air forces to take complete control of Iranian skies. And the Department of Defense released new video Wednesday of a U.S. submarine sinking an Iranian warship in international waters.
Abraham Lincoln.
On the ground,
We will now begin to expand inland, striking progressively deeper into Iranian territory and creating additional freedom of maneuver for U.S. forces.
the Pentagon identifying 4 of the 6 American service members killed Sunday in an Iranian drone strike. More than 1,000 people have been killed in Iran since the war began, according to U.S.-based group, the Human Rights Activist News Agency. Meanwhile, American civilians in the region are scrambling to evacuate. The U.S. has closed embassies in 3 countries, reduced its regional diplomatic staffing, and warned Americans to leave.
If an airport's been attacked or the airspace is closed, then we can have the planes lined up to go, but we can't get them to land because we don't have the permissions to land there. So that's the challenge, but rest assured, we are confident that we are going to be able to assist every American.
In Washington, Brian Abel reporting.
According to Governor Pritzker's office, Americans traveling or residing abroad are encouraged to enroll in the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program to receive security alerts and to make it easier for U.S. officials to contact them in an emergency. Well, it looks like in other news tonight, Pierce Lehman is in the Sports Center with the latest headlines. Good evening, Pierce.
Thanks, Olivia. Tonight in sports, IHSA boys basketball sectionals continue. We'll take a look at who is advancing and which teams are playing tonight. But first, Eastern Illinois men's basketball starts the OVC tournament tonight. We'll have a live courtside preview of the game next. Thanks for watching. WEIU Sports Watch Report is coming up next.
I stood in this very studio for the first time, just as today's WEIU Newswatch students do. I was nervous, excited, and ready to learn. But WEIU believed in me. As a Newswatch alum, I learned how to tell stories that matter. I found my voice here. Today, WEIU needs your help to keep that same opportunity alive for the next student, the next story, and the next 40 years. Please consider giving using one of the methods on your screen. WEIU needs you now more than ever.
Tonight's the night. The EIU men's basketball team is heading to the OVC tournament for just the second time in 6 years. Sports Watch's Andrew Spade is in Evansville and has more on tonight's matchup.
Thanks, Pierce. The number 8 seeded Panthers tip off shortly here in Evansville against the number 5 seeded SIUE Cougars. Eastern finished the season with a 12-19 record with an 8-12 record in OVC play, while the Cougars finished the season with the opposite record, 19-12 with a 12-8 mark in conference play. The winner of this game will play number 4 seeded UT Martin on Thursday, and these teams actually just played this past Saturday. EIU lost to SIUE 77-50 on Saturday and won earlier in the season against the Cougars, so this one could be a toss-up today. Eastern needs a big day from Zion Frewster, who was named to the second-team All-OVC team yesterday. Cooper Jacoby for the Panthers also notched a career-high 30 points and 13 rebounds last Thursday against Lindenwood when the Panthers needed a win the most, which got them here today. Reporting in Evansville, I'm Andrew Spade for WEIU Newswatch. Back to you, Pierce.
Thanks, Andrew. This marks the 3rd time in school history EIU has closed the regular season against the same opponent it opened the OVC tournament against, and the first time this has happened since 2016. You can listen to the OVC tournament live on Hitmix 88.9 WEIU right after Newswatch when the game tips off. Sports Watch will have the full recap of tonight's game on tomorrow's edition. It's the end of an era for the U of I men's basketball team as the Illinois played their last game at the State Farm Center against Oregon. Starting in the first, Zvonimir Visic, the older of the Visic twins, flies in with the Sports Center-worthy two-handed slam to even up the score. A few minutes later, the crowd is on their feet for Jake Davis, who takes his time to sink this dagger for an even bigger lead at 24-9. You heard that right. A 15-0 run in the first could only be matched at the end of the half as freshman phenom Keaton Wagler comes through, and it's nothing but net. The Illini lead only extends, and in a lighthearted twist of events, student manager turned walk-on AJ Red causes State Farm to erupt even louder than ever with a legendary three-ball to put the bow on an 80-54 victory. Illinois gets a few days off before a Sunday season finale showdown on the road against Maryland. After ending an 11-game losing streak, the Chicago Bulls now take on the reigning NBA champs Oklahoma City Thunder for the first time this season. Starting in the first, the Thunder get the rebound. They pass it by the Bulls to Jalen Williams, who gets the two-handed slam. The Thunder tie it up. Now in the second, Williams has the ball. This time, he shows his playmaking ability, passing it to Isaiah Joe, who gets high for the dunk for a 7-point lead. It's now time for a Bulls highlight. Colin Sexton gets the ball, drives to the basket. He gets tripped up while shooting, but he somehow makes it, getting the and one in the process. Oklahoma City wants to put the game away, and they do that with this long-range three. The Thunder go to win 116-108. The Bulls look to get back in the win column tomorrow when they take on the Phoenix Suns at 8. Just a few weeks after the Olympics ended, another world competition begins. It's the World Baseball Classic. 20 nations will battle for the title of Best at Baseball. Each team will start in one of 4 pools. The 2 best teams from each pool will go on to the tournament. Several players from local teams are in it, including Cardinals' Thomas Saggese for Italy, White Sox Murataka Murakami for Japan, and Cubs Pete Crow Armstrong for the U.S. The first game starts tonight with Australia taking on Chinese Taipei tonight at 9. The United States will play their first pool game Friday when they take on Brazil. Yesterday, the EIU baseball team took a trip up north, but it got cut short. The Panthers played into the third inning of the U of I game, but had to cancel the rest of the game due to incoming weather. As of now, there's no plans to resume the game. There have now been some changes from the weather to the Panthers' weekend series against Bellarmine. The game was originally set to be played in Louisville, but has since been moved to Mountain Dew Park in Marion, with one game on Friday and a doubleheader on Saturday. We now move to the high school level as the IHSA boys basketball sectionals continue. Let's take a look to see how the local teams are doing. In Class 1A, Altamont wins a close one against Tuscola 61-58 for Macon sectionals, while Leroy defeats Champaign St. Thomas More 59-51 for the Danville sectionals. As for the games tonight, in Class 1A, Casey Westfield will take on Lawrenceville at 7. The winner of that game will go on to face Altamont on Friday. The winner of that game will then play the winner of the Danville sectionals at Groninger Arena on Monday for Super Sectionals. Sports Watch will recap these games tomorrow night. Finally tonight, Eastern Illinois football adds Alex Gray to its coaching staff. Gray will take over as the cornerback coach for the Panthers, and he spent last season as the associate head coach and defensive coordinator at Lake Erie College. And we received word just before the show that longtime Notre Dame head coach Lute Holtz has died. He coached the Fighting Irish for 10 years, winning 100 games. He was 89 years old. That's all for sports. Olivia, Matt, back to you.
Ben Whitney will be back in a moment to recap weather for Marshall, Effingham, and all the area after this.
But first, we'll show you how seriously this furry friend takes the holidays. Thanks for watching. This is Newswatch on WEIU.
I'm Everett Lau, an Eastern Illinois University graduate from the class of 2021. As an Edgar County farm kid, I grew up with a childhood dream of becoming a broadcast meteorologist. I spent a lot of time in the WEIU studio during my 4 years in college, and that's how I got to this studio, WTHI TV in Terre Haute, Indiana. WEIU prepared me for long nights of tracking thunderstorms, fine-tuning details of approaching winter storms, and how to be a broadcaster in general, whether it was weather, news, or even sports. I needed WEIU to achieve my dream, and now WEIU needs me and you to help carry out its mission of setting up students for success. Please consider making a financial gift to support WEIU so the station and its dedicated staff can continue operating this outstanding training ground for aspiring broadcasters, journalists, and scientists. Your gift can allow local students like me provide local programming for our local communities. Learn more at weiu.net or by calling the station. Thanks for watching.
Penny, the Eastern Illinois University police dog, is prepared for the St. Patrick's Day season with a festive outfit. EIU Public Safety shared this photo on social media along with some party safety tips. They encourage you to plan your ride back before you go out, stick with your friends, watch your drink, know your limits, and look out for one another. Ben?
Overnight tonight, we'll see these lows getting down into the mid-50s across the area. 54 for our overnight low. We do have the chance to see some patchy fog and some morning showers as we get into our Thursday. 63 degrees for our high tomorrow. We'll see those rains start to wane out a little bit as we get towards the afternoon hours, where we'll be left with some mostly cloudy skies. As we look at the rest of our week ahead, we'll see rain on Friday and Saturday. A little bit of a break towards the start of next work week, but then rain back in the forecast for Tuesday and for Wednesday. So it's much needed rain, but it sure does look like those spring showers are here in full force.
Absolutely, Ben.
You guys know that I can't get my hair wet. It is what it is. Well, for more news and weather, be sure to log on to our website at weiu.net.
There you'll find real-time forecasts as well as the news video of the day.
And if news is happening in your community, let us know by dropping us an email at news@weiu.net. Have a good night.
Proudly supports Newswatch. Now welcoming guests on Charleston's historic 6th Street. The Charleston House Bed and Breakfast Inn offers refined accommodations in a beautifully restored bed and breakfast. For booking information, visit craigcollection.com or call the number on screen.
TCI Realty, Charleston area's real estate connection. Commercial, land and farm, and residential real estate. Experienced realtors with an up-to-date website at tcirealty.net. TCI Realty supports the students of WEIU Newswatch.